Welcome back, League of Legends fans. We are heading into the deciding game between Immortals and Team Dignitas. Both these teams have had fairly one-sided victories. Team Dignitas with a slow grind with a comp that would outscale, and then Immortals with one of the most one-sided affairs I've ever seen. Huge outplays out of Flame, and overall a great team victory for them in game 2.
And Smithy too. Smithy had some sick Gragas plays. The whole team seems to be on point, but we are going to be back to the original sides that we started on, right? So does Dignitas look for the same sort of ban strategy? Do they try to target Olay? Because that did seem pretty effective in game 1, you know, taking him off the playmakers, picking away the Morgana, and they're going to have the opportunity to try to attack him in the same manner that they did the first time around.
Right. Of course, you'd imagine several things would change the Immortal side, like not giving away Zac. You have to imagine being an important one. That the tanks clearly were too much to deal with, and the triple tank comp not one of the better ways to deal with tanks. You don't kill him very quickly, so we are heading into Champs Select now for Game 3, and we'll see just what strategy these teams have in mind for the final game. This is going to be Immortals' last game of the weekend. Of course, they played yesterday. Dignitas still has Cloud9 to play tomorrow.
So banning away Cassio, that was what Keen played in game number 1 against their tank strategy. We have to see what kind of adaptations they will make. You know, if they leave Zac open, are they going to be the ones to select it on this side?
Wait to see right here. Fiora also off the table someday. Haven't played that champion, and one that Immortals doesn't like to play too much themselves. More Thresh bans away from Olay. And there is that Zac ban. So Immortals really not willing to play Zac themselves. They really seem to not like it.
Now, they may be going for the Galio here. If you're Dig, you have a few options. You can ban out something like Galio or Kennen if you're concerned about that, or you can leave both open and look for a trade, and that's likely what we will see coming out. Whichever gets selected by Immortals, probably the other gets grabbed by Dignitas. And
they like Galio a whole lot more. Flame only has one Kennen game all split long, and it's like they're not going to go for that one. Someday, though, actually much more likely. Actually, he hasn't gotten to play the champion to take it back. The Kennen hasn't been played so far by Someday, according to the stats I'm looking at.
Everyone is playing this in solo queue.
I mean, you imagine.
Like, when you look at pretty much any of the high elo LCS top laners, they play a lot of Jace, they play a lot of Fiora, they play a lot of Kennen, because those are all dominant solo queue champions that you can spam and you can climb the ladder pretty easily on, and they're also ones that have relevance in competitive play. So if somebody does not know how to play Kennen, that is a big failure on his part, but I'm very confident that he will be able to play it well. Rek'Sai also up. That's going to be a pretty big pick. Elise, you know, people obviously are going to have the debate between which you want, but if you do have like some AP damage coming out of the top side, obviously this is, you know, going to be an AD Kennen, but still it's mixed damage. Having a physical damage dealer from your jungle can be smart, because Keen likely wants to draft a magic damage dealing mid lane too, right? And if you grab the Elise, then you're stuck with kind of a lot of AP on the top side.
Sure, absolutely. So the picks come through for Immortals. The Galio remains a flex, as Xfinity goes for Olaf, actually, so Elise left on the table. Even team going to play that champion here. Cody Sun's Jhin. You tend to consider Jhin a low damage champion because he doesn't have quite the same auto attack speed, but it frequently does plenty of damage over the course of a game, so you don't want to malign it too much. But look at this lot actually on a heavy auto attacker here off the Ashe, even though the chance is there. Kennen will be going top lane, Someday's first of the split, and it's going to be high damage, double zeal, infinity edge, hurricane, plenty of damage output from Lot.
Yeah, I mean, Cody-san, you know, speak a little bit about the Jhin, just played it, and he actually did the most damage in the game. He's very successful on it. He has been having a great season for himself. You know, this is much less about kind of the supportive style, like Essence Reaper type Jhin. This is a damage auto attack, more centric Jhin, right? And with the buffs and stuff, like, he's doing a lot of damage, and certainly not going to maybe compare to a late game carry like Tristana if you get a 6-item type situation, but at a couple items, he's going to be very relevant, very powerful, plus has that long-range engage still.
Yep, has a very smooth power curve. We'll see what comes in next for this draft as Karma's off the table from Olay. And again, the fact that this Galio is still a bit of a flex, maybe they want to consider banning some top laners, banning some mid laners, who knows which. Neither team has played a support so far, picked a support so far.
You know, I would be looking at an Orianna pick here for Keen. If it doesn't get banned away, I think that Orianna, while it's also a very good kind of standard mid lane pick, it works really well in combination with like a hyper carry such as Tristana, to have that shielding power, to be able to speed him up as well. That's going to be very good for a lot if they get to those stages. You do sometimes want a bit more of that supporty style, especially when you don't have a massive front line if you're going to run this sort of AD carry.
Well, they're going to leave Orianna up. The Syndra is available to counterpick if Immortals wants it, or vice versa, of course. Talia off the table instead.
Blitz is up there too. Morgana's up, so a couple of the picks that we do like to see from Olay that he really does prioritize. So you can look to take that away. I mean, Morgana makes some sense if you're saying, okay, well, what are the ones left that he has? Well, Blitz, Morgana, those are the ones in his wheelhouse. Morgana works well into Blitz. You can black shield the hook. So I think that the drafting strategy in general to try to counteract Olay is pretty intelligent. We know Olay has other picks, though. He may just go back to the Nami. You can deal with Morgana on the Blitz, but it's more difficult.
What's strange to me, though, is the fact that Smithy grabs the Olaf this early. If you are concerned about Olay getting banned out because you saw it in Game 1,
yeah,
it's not like Olaf is the most sought-after jungler. Maybe he still really believes in it very much, but it's going to be, again, a very heavy melee comp right here. This time it is more damage, though. Jarvan is going to add a bit more in the front line. Olaf generally going to be nice as well, but it's going to be that tank mid laner here of the Gallia once again for Pobelter, so putting a lot of pressure still on Cody-san.
And to be fair, just because we think that there's some concern about him getting banned out, he may be very comfortable playing all these other champions.
Sure.
And I don't think that the Nami was really like the point of failure for their Game 1 composition. They only had one real source of damage, and they lost out mostly because they didn't get ahead, and then everyone could just focus Cody-san. Yeah. So this is a little bit different. But that said, I mean, it's still just like, if you do not get ahead with this composition, I feel like you get outscaled very hard. This is not a hyper carry with Lulu. This is, you know, J4 and the Olaf and the Galio. Most of their damage is front loaded. Most of their damage is kind of working off of base damage. You're not building pure DPS the whole way through. Yes, you're going to pick up some damage items, but still, it's like, it's much more of an early mid-game type composition.
And I'm still concerned about the Immortals comp right here because you've added some wave through now for Team Dignitas, the Victor in the mid lane. You assume Kennan's going to keep doing well in this top lane matchup. You don't pick that champion blind unless you're confident in him taking any matchup into the mid to late game right here, and I've seen Kenan succeed. But Victor's got wave clear, Morgana's got safety, Rek'Sai's got some safety, and then Tristana's really safe under the turret as well. It's going to be hard for Immortals to make that dive really work under a turret.
Yeah, that's fair, but I mean, one person you certainly can attack, you know, with something like the J4 Galio combo and even the combo with the Olaf and the Galio, like those are both very powerful. You can attack the Victor. This guy does not have a move block. If he doesn't have his flash, there's no way out of the J4 Galio combo. That can take you down very quickly. You can also look to collapse in the side lanes because while Kenan can bully J4 somewhat, you don't have a move block either. You need your flash to get out of the Cataclysm. If you get caught by Jarvan, Galio can come in. You can look to snowball. So there's lots of ways they can get ahead. But I will say, if they do not get ahead, if they are even or behind in the earlier stages of the game with a composition like this, you're looking to get outscaled by Tristana, by Victor, by the split push of Kenan.
We'll see if that happens right here because the hard dive is there. It's the draft for Immortals. They're going to come back to the same comp they ran in Game 1, and they're going to try to go hard and dive into the turrets here for Game 2 and in Game 3. This time it's going to be Team Dignitas hoping they can withstand that yet again and make that late game scaling happen once again with Keen on the mage. Game 3 is here. Who's going to take over first place? Immortals or Team Dignitas? It comes down to this.
I definitely feel like, while you know, we have to talk about some of the ways this can work for Immortals, I would have liked to see something kind of other than Jhin, because at least if you have someone who's like a higher DPS AD carry, then you have like a little bit of late game insurance policy with Lulu plus said high DPS AD carry.
Right.
Because Jhin is not really that teamfight god late game. But they will have their opportunities to get ahead, and they are going to have very powerful early and mid game. So it's just execution based, right? Sometimes I just don't really like watching teams kind of paint themselves into a corner, because why leave yourself only the one kind of victory condition if you could have multiple?
Right, and it's always interesting. The way I think about it is expected value, where if you're like 99% of the time, you're going to win laning phase. And then if you have a win in laning phase, you win 9% of the game from there because of what your comp looks like, then your win rate's super sick. And yeah, you've got, you know, this 80-something% win rate to win, like it's going to happen for you. But if your chance of winning lane is 52% and it's an 80% closeout from there, that's not a very good comp rate. And it really comes down to the confidence in getting that early game lead. That if that corner you paint yourself into is most of the room, it's a very big corner, then you're okay. And I'm stretching the metaphor at this point, but that's what it comes down to, is how confident are they that that condition is met.
Yeah, and Jhin is going to help a lot with the engage of these three champions, right? If you can slow someone down, if you can root someone up, that can allow the J4 or the Olaf to get on top of them and then deliver the Galio in. So a lot is going to depend on the early game, but also just on the playmaking, on how well can they find these picks, how well can they make those flanks happen.
Absolutely, so we'll see what comes through into this one, as it was the standard Raptor start for Shrimp, and not too crazy of a leash otherwise. Going to finish out the rest of the camp. Smithy, of course, going to be very fast in the Olaf, and in fact, going for a nice little cheeky invade. Doesn't actually want to steal away the blue buff. He's afraid of getting jumped on because, in fact, Big did leave the lane. So get a bit of coordination there. Saying, hey, Borg left, you can't, and out he goes.
Yeah, they actually spotted him because they had a ward over by his Raptors. So he does just the Raptor camp and he starts running over. They know immediately what he's trying to do, right? There's no other reason to path in that direction if you're not trying to steal the camp away. So because they have that warding, they're going to put him a tiny bit behind. It's not really a big deal because Shrimp didn't even do his own red buff. He just went straight over to the blue in case he had to contest Smithy.
Yep, and despite the time lost, Smithy actually finishes his buff first. Olaf at low health obviously clears very quickly. And so despite, again, all the time back and forth, he is ahead on this one. Shrimp, 7 health left on that blue buff. We got a quick pause. Don't know what it is, but I will hear what it is shortly. Of course, our lovely production staff will tell us what was up with that. So we wait to see what comes through.
And hopefully no major issue, and we can just get underway here pretty quickly. Sometimes it can just be a sound issue, some little thing like that can get solved very, very quickly. Seems like it's an issue with Laud.
Yep, he says he cannot hear game sounds, so he's going to restart his game client. I assume we checked the box saying, yes, I do have game sounds. I assume the headset's plugged in.
And Laud actually has 0 CS right now, so maybe it was a little bit distracted by that. Obviously, you know, they lost the push on the wave, so you do kind of have to step back at that point. But certainly not something you want to play with.
No, not exactly the case here. I actually know of a few players who purposely play without sound. I don't believe in that. I think that's very silly. There's plenty of game cues that have sound attached to them that you want to hear, like MF Ultimates. And of course, Laud in the same boat. He likes his sound, and I agree. I do always turn off ambient sounds by the way, in any game given me the option.
Yeah, I turn off music, I turn off ambient. I always listen to my own music while I play.
I actually don't use my own music because I actually find it a little bit distracting.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to like sing along and like forget. I actually like when DJ Sona came out, I listened to DJ Sona for a while, but I realized that
I was into a wall.
Well, I played worse with it. Like I would turn on the checkbox and was like, but I like the song so much, I'm losing focus in the game. So it actually sold to inverse power. I never played with DJ Sona music on my team.
Kept taking your hands off the mouse, had the glow sticks out.
Just start raving.
Just going nuts at the desk.
You don't even know. In 7th grade, I definitely tried to learn to rave. Me and my friends, we'd bring
in 7th grade.
In 7th grade, me and my friends, we'd bring glow sticks to the school dances. And we would, we'd learn to do figure eights and stuff. I mean,
follow-up question: are there any videos of
no.
7th grade David Freak Turley?
I mean, that would have been right 2001, right? Smartphones weren't out at that point, so there was no YouTube. There was no video evidence of my raving.
That is very unfortunate.
I know. Unlucky for you. Sorry, buddy. But you can't find it. But we are ready to go back into this one. Team Dignitas ready to go, and of course, Immortals the same. And it's worth noting, by the way, Laud has 2 CS right now. He's got 3. He is scaling up massively.
Skyrocketing.
Skyrocketing.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so we are back into the game, and we'll have to see exactly how these guys are going to play it out.
We're going to pause real quick for the broadcast sake this time around, because we weren't able to switch up. I don't know what caused it exactly, but because you guys can't see what's going on, we play League of Legends for you at home and you in the audience here, not just so I can, talk into the ether. So once we do get that sorted out, we'll be back into the game, and I blame Laud. Is what it comes down to.
I will not blame Laud. I will defend him.
All right, Laud, you're my homie. I'm just kidding, man. You're playing one of my favorite champions in Tristana as well. It's interesting. It was something that I brought up a little bit before. I've just been very interested in the evolution of the bot lane champions because there have been some item changes, right, with Ardent Sensor moving around and Redemption moving around and Locket moving around and Zeals being cheaper and whatnot. New champions shown in the bot lane. And a lot of people credited the rise of Tristana with, well, we're seeing tank supports all the time. And Trist is considered a weaker laner, especially against poke supports. So when you stop seeing poke supports, like, wait, Trist can get a free lane and can now scale up. So the metagame says we're seeing tanks, so now I'm allowed to play Trist. And this is what I like seeing. This is, in my opinion, like the right use of the term playing with the meta or the metagame. What everyone else is doing is giving you free lanes because they're playing Tahm Kench, they're playing Braum. So I'm allowed to play a greedy champion like Trist that I couldn't in a Zyra world, but I can in a Braum world. And so Tristana is a reaction to the metagame of tank supports.
Yeah, and Doran Shield going to help out with that as well,
of
right?
Course.
That's certainly
they all matter.
Something nice. Plus, we are in a world where lane swaps are happening more frequently now, right? And if you send your bot lane top pretty early on, if you can get the jump on that, Tristana crushes turrets very, very fast. So this is certainly another area where the champion can be very, very useful. Yeah. And as we all know, it is extremely powerful in the late game as a team fighter.
Yeah. And what it seems to be, though, as well, is as I unpack that situation a little bit more, the reason to even bring Trist in the first place is it feels like she's a surrogate Caitlyn. Caitlyn is the most sought-after bot laner right now in League of Legends because Infinite Edge is deeper, because Zeal comes online sooner, because Static Shiv and Rapid Fire Cannon are all buffed. you want to play IE Double Zeal users. Like, that's the best endgame build right now in League of Legends is IE Double Zeal, and Caitlyn, of course, loves that build, and there's no surprise that she's so popular. Tristana also loves those items, and when Caitlyn's gone, Tristana's next up on that tier list.
Still going to be getting bullied out pretty hard. It's a little bit surprising to see, more than a full wave down, this early on for Laud, but they lost the push, and how much of that is to do with him being distracted about the no sound, and how much of that is to do with the matchup and the way it was played, would be up to debate.
I think a lot of it is Lulu, honestly. We missed a little bit of it, but again, we talked about how Trista's not a strong laner into range supports. You have no skill shots, you have no long range abilities. Ole and Cody-san can just 2v1 the guy against what a rank 1 Dark Binding that does 80 damage and nothing else. And so he has to take the back foot because the matchup here comes to play on the top side, though. Ghost is on. They want Someday. He's got Flash. Doesn't dodge the axe. Now there's no way out for this one. Someday, who gets the kill? He's going to toss it over to Flame. No, it's going to be...
Oh, Shrimp's going in. That's going to be a one-way
Shrimp
Shrimp
is just going to die. He's going to flash the knockup. But the damage just isn't there. He gives away the double buffs to Flame.
That was not a good play whatsoever from Shrimp. I mean, as Someday goes down, you have to leave. You cannot go forward on that. And that was just completely throwing away his life and his summoner. There was no chance, really, of actually having that be a positive trade once somebody had already died.
And it wasn't like it was a sick flame. Oh, wow, the damage is there right there for Ole. Doesn't even need the ignite. He flashed, then the champion is gone.
Yeah, I don't think the heal was actually in time. It looked like the health picks was so fast from Ole that Big died before that could come out, and things going really wrong for Dignitas across the map.
This is 2,000 gold in 5 minutes. This is insane. You don't see leads like this very often.
I mean, top lane, this is, again, it's one of those things, right? You're pushed up, you're trying to harass the guy under the turret, but if you cannot react to the gank, the blast cone has not been cleared, so Smithy just easy blast cone over, pop the ghost, he is dead, and then Shrimp, what is the decision from this point? There's no way you can win this, and this is, you're not even really going to do enough damage to burst him down. Maybe if you can get your max rage E off and get true damage, maybe you can trade a kill, but even then it's not worthwhile because you're giving up your life and the double buffs for potentially, at best, a trade.
Right, you're guaranteed to die when it comes through. I want to shout out Flame, by the way, who went for the Flash W just to slow Someday as Smithy was coming in. The extra slow helped guarantee that the axe landed, forced the early flash. Very smart by him to flash for a 12% slow. Exactly,
because if the axe hits, somebody is dead. That's what it comes down to. And landing that, very big. Smithy forcing another summoner, actually double summoners there out of Keen.
For just walking in. He didn't burn anything, he just walked there.
That was really well done. And Smithy off to a great start. I love the early Lucidity purchase. This is something we used to talk a lot about when Olaf was more meta, and players may not know about it as much now if you're a newer viewer. Basically, this reduces your summoner spell cooldown. So you take the defensive tree talent Insight that also reduces your summoner spell cooldown. Then Ghost is already lower than Flash as a cooldown. So you can trade this out very aggressively. And a smart ward here actually from Flame in the brush. Catches Shrimp coming in on that gank.
It's a 2 minute and 50.
Oh, they're going to look for a 2v2 here.
Smithy's back for it.
Maybe too early, though.
The Cataclysm's going to buy a bit of time. The shield is there. Here comes Galio, though. The heroic entrance buys a few more seconds, and Shrimp going to get a knockup, but there's no follow-through to be had. Here comes the damage. Smithy gets one for himself, and Shrimp, where is he going to go? It's 13 seconds. The tunnel cooldown. The kill comes in. A double for Smithy. 3-0 on the Olaf.
Everything going wrong for Dignitas. They were just getting slaughtered. Smithy moves up. It's already a double level 6 against level 5. Someday level 5. Shrimp and the experience makes the world of difference here.
And now they can go for an early turret kill. Flame maybe, or sorry, I should say Keen. I misread the name, sorry. Wants to come down to the bot lane, but he can't do it. There's nowhere to fight. First turret going to be a 7-minute kill.
And we talked about, game 1, how they had to get ahead with this sort of diving composition. It didn't work and it looked very bad. This game, they're enormously ahead, and we're going to see how dominant it can look when you have that lead, because these sorts of heavy frontline diver type compositions can make you feel very, very hopeless when they are this far ahead. It feels like you can't return damage. There's nothing you can do. We'll see if Dignitas can kind of weasel their way out of this one.
Oh, they're going to have to try, and I think their scaling, again, still looks very good. They just have to weather the storm.
Someday maybe going a little bit early, as Smithy's still pretty far away here. It becomes a situation where they have to get this big save. If he waits a second or two, it's probably not even close. But they are able to pull it off. Good roam up from Pobelter. Smithy knows he can dive and finish off Kennen, who's not even level 6, and then Shrimp has no chance to really get anything done here. And Olaf, at 7 minutes, 8 minutes now, has a completed Cinderhulk plus the Lucidity. Like, this is one of the best early game snowballing champions. You're so strong, your base damages are very high, and you're really, really tanky for this stage of the game.
Not only is he 800 gold over any of his teammates, he's over 1,300 gold over any of his opponents. He is ridiculously, stupidly ahead right now. Xmithie can do anything he wants this game.
He's actually, closing, not quite, but near double the gold value of Shrimp.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually absurd. And he can solo anyone in the game right now. As his ghost comes back up, he can just run at someone. I mean, he doesn't have summoners, right? Like, pretty absurd.
Man, even Jesse Pairing would be afraid of Xmithie right now into this one. Shout out to old school memes. Shrimp gonna look for something. Oh man, he got like every one of them right there. Xmithie can do no wrong this game. Taking a cue from Flame in the previous one, just goes wherever he pleases and nothing can stop him. Looking for Shrimp. He was standing still. Shrimp's been slow. Does he have a tunnel? No, not for 5 more seconds. He gets a knock at to buy a bit more time, but Xmithie is on the hunt. He wants someone. But the tunnel gets him away.
This is smart from Xmithie though, not committing the ultimate or the ghost. He just wants to bully him off and take away this red buff. Waits for the smite to come back up, pushes Shrimp out. Now he collects the buff. Now he can threaten to drop top side. He knows that Shrimp went down to the bottom side. Like, you could very easily dive someday, or you can even 3-man mid. Like, they're very, very precarious in the positioning for Dignitas.
And right now, nothing just yet. Of course, somebody with ulti and flash available makes it a hard dive to be had. They're not going to go just yet into this one. It's going to be the quick bot lane push here. The serrated Dirk was already in for Cody Sun. Nice bit of damage. You can see what Someday can do in the matchup. Like, Sunday's actually up in farm right now, despite being down on items and such.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is a very favorable matchup early on. It's also interesting to note that Flame decided to go very offensive with his masteries. Going for Thunderlords, very few people do take that. It's almost always Grasp in competitive play. You have the defensive masteries, which help you kind of survive that laning phase a little bit more, but this is a more bursty, heavy style, right? So this is not about surviving. He is looking to all in, and he is looking to kill his opponent, because that is a way that Jarvan can take over in the 1v1.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, honestly. I like really Jarvan a lot as a champion because he has so many ways you can build him. You can go full tank, you can go bruiser, glass cannon, whatnot, and I agree. If you're going to win against Cannon at all, it's burst damage, and I think it's very smart by Flame to go for this kind of build.
It can make a lot of sense. That said, you need the confidence to do it, and if you mess up this sort of build, like if you are going more offensive with your masteries and very aggressive with your playstyle, has the potential to go very wrong. So that is often why people do take the more defensive, kind of conservative route.
And Ole winning his 1v1 with Lod. Curtain call makes him run away.
Oops.
Back on cooldown. Yeah, that was just a rocket jump to get to safety, so maybe a bit more than needed, but it means turret damage here. Pavelther waiting in the wings, but no fight to be had. And unfortunately now for Immortals, there is no spells up, and they're just going to kill off Key, and that's Flash and goes down once again.
Xmithie debating whether he should go in there, and getting double summoner out there, that's a big win already, so no real need to actually risk going for that dive. Flame was looking to catch Keen with the lazy recall, but Keen backs all the way up, so we'll get out safely.
He's going to lose a lot of farm and a lot of turret damage for this one as Pavelther keeps playing the push game.
Yeah, bot turret's done.
Yep. Everywhere on the map, Immortals are winning right now. 16 farm for the mid lane. That's the least impactful lane right now. You've got 42 minions up for Cody Sun and Ole.
Yeah, almost 5,000 goal ahead was their lead at 10 minutes. Like, they are
ridiculous,
absurdly ahead. They are now closing in on 6K. Just past 11 minutes into the game, close to knocking down that mid lane turret, which would give them another injection. Plus, they're grabbing up the mountain, even more late game and objective control insurance. So they really can go everywhere. They can do whatever they want here. Have every option under the belt.
And here we go. Mountain Drake is gone. So they cannot myth a smite. All is well for him. Beautiful stuff.
Shrimp gonna try to take away his Scuttle, and at least if you can fight for the Scuttle, you can hope to deny the Rift Herald access. Flame may be getting collapsed on here. We'll see if he can get out.
One
His
versus
spot is
three.
now.
Flag and drag, jumps over, not gonna be caught up by Big anymore. Black Shield was late.
Nice.
So he couldn't flash to follow, but honestly, if Big just Black Shields himself, he can flash follow and Flame's dead there, I think.
Yeah, very likely at least. But I mean, Flame still does have his flash, and you don't necessarily know where everyone is on the map. If Xmithie is coming, that is a risky follow. But that being said, you have to make risky plays now as Dignitas. You need to make something work. And oftentimes these low percentage plays are the best you're actually going to get.
Right.
So you're more willing to commit to those sorts of things.
But at this point, you go for any play where the chance of it working is higher than your chance of winning the game. And if you're down the most gold anyone's been against Immortals all split, your chances are about 3% right here. And now the nice knock up there. Lot's still getting to jump away, but he's on the wrong side of this. He's got flash, but it's not going to mean anything. shut down, and Cody Sun gets his first kill of the game.
I mean, Lod was like not even really doing that well 1v1 against the support Lulu at this point.
Yeah, 2 more, and it gets worse.
Rough.
A couple more snipes on a Shrimp. He's going to stay alive on this one, though. Minion falls down the curtain call. Maybe we see some more in the mid lane. Quick axe toss. Undertow.
Smithy again, just everywhere. Just he can farm his opponent's jungle full time. Really, there's nothing that Trim can ever do to contest him, and they're looking to set up a siege here in the mid lane. Pobelter can always threaten the roam down. If he starts to walk down into the jungle, he'll be very quickly in ultimate range towards that mid lane, so they can threaten dives.
Another shot right there on Akean, losing him 300 health, but we'll see if that dive does come through, if the threat comes in. 6,000 is the gold difference here. Nice snipe by Shrimp, takes away the big wolf. Consolation prizes through and through right now for Team Dignitas. That team is squishy, though. There is no tank on the lineup. Rek'Sai is now more of a fighter. It's a warrior enchant type item, or type champion, I should say. Mid lane outer is gone. Gold lead stretches a bit farther. Local gold all goes to Cody Sun.
Yeah, and that's exactly the play that they were trying to set up. You have Pobelter roam down, Smithy's threatening the flank from the other side, so you have people on both sides, and you really can look to threaten that. Flame should just be able to walk out, as long as he can get bound here. Not really too much threat coming in on him.
I think he was respecting a possible flash bind, and didn't think that he might be able to do it on reflex, so he's like, if he goes for this, I'm juking sideways, and doesn't come through in the end, he's going to be fine. Back to the farm game they're going to go. Well, worth pointing out, though, that Someday does have quite a bit of farm. He very much focuses on getting farm. He'll often leave his team alone if he doesn't think he can turn the fight around to poke the power up for another time. And him getting some golden XP could be a way to get back in the game.
And I think that's the intelligent play when you are split pushing. Very often you have to play for yourself, for the team that way. But that being said, because of the turrets that have gone down, because of the kill and the assists and stuff, even though he is up quite a bit in CS, he's down quite a lot in gold, right? So, that is maybe the bright spot for the team, but even that is kind of burning out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Immortals are going to look to even extend that lead further. You can grab up the Rift Herald. Not much threat from Dignitas besides maybe some sort of miracle steal, but you can then use this to crack the inner turrets and just continue to extend that advantage.
Going to make that happen right now. Rift Herald picked up by the Olaf. Smithy taking everything on the map right now. Ocean Break going to be up in maybe 2.5 or so minutes. Yeah, Cody Sun, geez, 50 minions up. I mean, everything just going as well as it possibly could have for Immortals. And the question just is when they close it out versus Dignitas making some kind of miracle play to turn it around.
And for Cody Sun, I mean, this is his best game as far as that CSD by far. His highest this season earlier was against Arrow, a 27 CSD at 15. Now this time 50 up on Lod. And yeah, sure, Trist has great late game skilling, but how are you ever going to get there? You are so far behind. They need to delay forever.
Ooh, nice taunt flash going to be there on Akean. He's going to go for some damage back. This one, but the knockups are there. The Wild Growth makes the kill come through. Ole finds that one. Shrimp squishy, but gets some decent damage to Pobelter. He's not going to ult for it. Had the chance to go for more damage. Doesn't want the kill, though, here. And the taunt's going to land. Black Shield buys some time. And Lod is losing all of his health bar right there. Flashes, jumps away, heals, staying alive on this one with Big. Next up, and it's going to be the Rampage now for Smithy. The curtain call is in. The first shot's going to land. He only needed 1 bullet. Cody Sun can't count to 4. He doesn't have to. Gets the kill in the top lane, and the inhibitor turret's going to fall. Dignitas still nothing on the board here.
It's getting so much with the Rift Herald, cracking an inhibitor at 16 minutes in. They are still on base for what could be a perfect game. 4-0-4 on Smithy. He is massive. They just collected a ton more gold. This lead is just absurd, and they have so much gold in their pockets to spend up. Smithy is going to be basing with like 2,200 gold. He can complete another item.
Yeah, holy moly, just what a snowball of a game.
And this is just very well done from Pobelter. He channels the taunt, follows flash for flash. Smithy more than enough damage to finish off the first one. And yes, this is a low chance of this working for Dignitas, but they feel like they need to force a play. Big looks for the big ultimate. Lod is trying to get as much damage as possible out, but it's very difficult for them to ever fight back in a situation like this. You need to have odd number fights. That's really your only hope. If you can have like a 4v2 or something like that, quickly kill them off, maybe you have hope, but in even number of fights, you have to misplay so badly as Immortals to ever really lose.
I am sad that Shrimp did not ult in for the kill into Pobelter, though. That guy was pretty low and he was magic because of stacking. I feel like the Rek'Sai ult actually could have gotten the kill, but perfect game still intact right now for Immortals, as even Ole is giving some farm in the bot lane.
May have not had the tag on Pobelter. I'm not actually
He
sure
definitely
about
did.
that.
I was watching for it in the replay. He had the mark on him. He just Initially, he was only like 1/3, so it's like not quite in kill range. Then we got super low, the tag had fallen off, but I don't know. Maybe I'm missing it, and it wasn't quite going to be there. But mid lane under fire now. Pavelter just way too tanky to care about any of this. Looks to take some turret shots. Xmithie going to push him around. Down to half HP, but the turret's going to fall with a shield thanks to Ole. So far, it's been amazing for Immortals here. 10,000 gold now, 18 minutes in. They have just smashed this game now.
And Xmithie already with the stone plate completed. He's building towards the locket. Gonna have that incredible shielding combo on his side, and they're gonna be looking to close this one out very, very quickly. The last of the outer turrets has fallen. We'll see how aggressively Immortals wants to play it. If you want to play it really safe, you can just grab the dragon, keep farming the jungle, look for a Baron, and then close out with that. That is kind of the more guaranteed win. But they still could look for opportunities to dive and just close this one out really fast.
We'll see what it ends up being. There's the Ocean Drake picked up, which means you can stay on the map for longer. Right now, Dig just gonna keep the farm going in the top lane, and to a certain extent, this is almost what you want in a game going this badly, because no one's farming top lane from Immortals, and La just gets solo gold, gets solo XP, and even gets the extra money that comes in from the super minion itself. As long as the turrets stay alive, I mean, losing an Ocean Drake is not the worst thing.
Yeah, certainly not. And sometimes in situations like this, the game can stall out from this point, but this is not a composition that doesn't have easy ways to dive, right?
Yeah.
Like, they have so many ways to dive, so many ways to start up the fights. You Jhin ultimate to zone them off the turret, you send in the Olaf, you send in the Galio, and it's very clear-cut.
Yeah, and the Trico doesn't say Fox right there, so you imagine this team. As sad it is, it's true. This is like every Echo Fox game ever, and then it takes them 30 more minutes to win the game. Immortals definitely have had good shot calling, though they are traditionally a mid to late game team that wins off shot calling. You give them this kind of lead, and it's probably going to be a slaughter, and it has been so far.
And I think that they shouldn't really try to overforce. If they can get a fight outside the base, take it, end the game, great, right? But otherwise, wait till you have your locket. Wait till you have some of these items coming in. Get the Baron. Secure that victory, because it's only getting better for your team for these next few minutes since you're farming both sides of the map.
That's the flash out for Someday. I'm going to get away from the tag. So ult for flash. A worthy cooldown trade so far. We'll see what comes in next for Immortals.
And scaling, like, while it is going to go in favor of Dig, they're so far away from that mattering. Like, this has to be like a 50-minute game for that even to be a conversation, because
Right.
Immortals is farming both sides of the map. So when you are just getting so much less income, scaling is not really part of the discussion, right? You just can't actually get to the point where that matters at all. I mean, you're looking at Lod, who has pieces of some items versus 2 completed from Cody's son. He's on his way to his 3rd.
Yeah. Game 3 is a lot of season highs right now for Immortals. 10,000 gold lead at 20. Yeah, good luck meeting that one again later on in the season here on this one. Immortals.
This is just gone.
Just, yeah, 20-minute Baron take, not even a problem. Big is around. The Miracle Bind, there's always a chance. You never say never. And it goes down to Xmithie, of course. He can never miss a smite this game. He's been perfect. Immaculate, and now Big is running out of options. Redemption for the kill! Get him!
Oh!
Yeah! Ole! 3-0-3 in the swag dance for Povo to make it all right.
Bovelter's feeling it. He's dancing on the corpse. They know this one is all but over. They're going to look to close it out, pushing in on the top side. They want to get all the waves going. Then you can easily set up the dive. Then you can easily siege. Dignitas has maybe one more fight left in them, but Immortals, they still have the perfect game going here. Have not lost anything. Not a kill, not a turret, not a dragon, or the Rift Herald.
And how happy are Immortals fans right now? This game is, I mean, guaranteed to be over at this point. They are the #1 team in the LCS. This is after Huni left the team, after Rainover left the team, after Wild Turtle left the team, after Adrian's been gone as well. The entirely new lineup of rookies and unlikely pickups here. And they are the best team in North America. They've beaten every defending champion. They've beaten every 5-1 team in this week specifically.
And here comes the play from Dig, the last fight.
The last stand for this one. Shrimp in the back line, the flash to follow they want, and they're gonna pick off early. No, they can't. The Wild Growth in, the shutdown finally comes through thanks to the Rex side. But the trade kill is already in as he's fallen off this one. Pavelter buying a bit more time, a double kill in for Cody's son himself, and Someday just doesn't have the damage. Galley with a rogue is back into the front line, but it's already 3 missing. It's a 4v2. The perfect game is gone, but I'm sure the fans are okay with the win coming through all the same. It's only 2:20. It's only 22:20 into the game, and the Nexus turrets are already falling right now. 4 versus 2 inside the base. The knockup once again for Flame, who did so much work in game 2 this series. The big plays in game 3 as well. Some days are numbered. Big's gonna fall flat. He's gone on this one. Xmithie refuses to die. He is Immortal himself. fitting in so well in the new lineup here. 14-1 in kills, but maybe the Nexus actually won't die just yet. The chase in. Lod gets the one auto attack, but the trade kill is in for the taunt, the knockup on the Shrimp. They might trade that one back in. He's trying to make it happen, but he's going to fall. And now once again, it is 2 versus 4 inside the base as Ole runs down the mid lane to join back in again. Top lane inhibitor to fall pretty shortly, but it looks like this will be a bit of a delay of game. The Immortals will not win just yet.
They are staying around, though, looking for someday.
Over chasing a little bit, one more shot. He gets the arm of the flash to follow, but this could be a trade. A slight overstay, the shutdown comes through. Welter taunts a black shield, but it is still an open Nexus. The trade of focus. Do you go for the Nexus? Do you go for the champions? And finally, they do go for the major objective there, as Big is going to limp back to the fountain. And Immortals waiting to close it out. They are savoring their victory. One more kill in for Flame. The Thunderlord's triggers. And Immortals close week 4 as the #1 team in North America.
The undisputed best team. Close it out with the fastest game this split. Dignitas hardly could have got out of this one faster if they surrendered. Immortals dominated them so badly, and sure, they gave up a couple of kills at the end, but how much more can you ask for? These last 2 games were complete and total domination from the Immortals squad. They got bested in game #1, but they came back with a vengeance. And these guys are on fire. I mean, not only are they #1 in the standings, but they just look like the best team, period.
They really do. Everything working so well. Flame, the front runner right there, had so many sick plays. But they're having a nice game in the tanks. And some hugs from the Xfinity clan right there. I believe his entire family in town right here for this one. We had the picture on social media earlier. You guys seen that?
It's fantastic to see the support for him and doing so well after the trade. Has to feel very nice to have a family here watching him succeed. A 2-0 week for Immortals against back-to-back 5-1 opponents who were previously tied for them in first place. Smithy and co are now in sole possession of first place and will remain in sole possession of first place regardless of the rest of the results this week.
Absolutely the case. Beautiful stuff out of this squad. And Tactic Smithy yesterday saying, well, is it gonna be an Immortals logo up there as the next team to win North American LCS? And he gave me this sort of haphazard, yeah, maybe. He wasn't ready to get hyped up about it just yet, but certainly this is a squad worthy of giving support to. These are deserved wins, and some of them have looked so incredible, absolutely. You can see even the subs coming out here stunt on your screen. And the rest of the coaching staff, everyone else. Immortals can just do nothing but feel happy now. They're done for the week. We'll see them back in week 5 as the #1 team.
And I mean, anyone that they're going to be facing has got to realize how good this team is, how much you have to prepare for them. I just think that they're so impressive. You know, even with so much focus on Ole. Again, he had a very good game. Across the board, it just feels like when they succeed so well as a team. You know, you look down the line, yes, there are standout plays, there are standout players, but everyone is doing well. I mean, you know, deathless game for Flame, 6-1-4 for both Smithy and Cody's son. Ole getting very involved. Pobelter having a strong game. It's hard to really look at one piece and say, okay, that's where you attack. This is the weakness. This is how you beat Immortals, because they play as such a cohesive unit.
Yeah, they really do. This is the team right now. This is the North American best team. And yeah, we'll see as other teams get better and as they improve over the course of the split, who can kind of match this. We've always seen teams start hot and then come back down. There's always the chance that, you know, something goes wrong, of course, but we won't be seeing Immortals at Rift Rivals. It was not a very good spring split for them, but basically the goal is we have 0 championship points. You missed playoffs. They have to keep this form. If they want to go to Worlds, and it looks like this is a team that is good enough to do so, they need to make that run go quickly. They have to win the split. They will not qualify automatically on championship points. That's basically impossible. So they've got to either run the gauntlet or win the split. And so they have to win a lot of best of 5s to close out the season to make that trip to Worlds.
Yeah, they certainly do, but they're looking like they are on form to perhaps do it.
We'll see if it comes through. But now to get some thoughts on that series, let's hear from Kobe and the Immortals mid laner.
Thank you, Freak. Yes, we are here with Pobelter after their victory. I'm not going to ask you any questions about that specific game because that was over in like 5 minutes. Instead, I'm going to ask you about, because you've been a player for a very long time in the North American LSS, and you've experienced being first place before as well as being last place. What is the biggest difference, do you guys feel, you know, as a team? Just what does it feel like as a player as opposed to being, you know, last place to first place?
Well, I mean, being first place feels pretty good, and then being last place just feels really like extremely bad, because as a pro, you know, you spend your whole day, your whole life just committed to pretty much performing on stage, and then if that doesn't happen, it's just really tough. Like, you know, you're like, what am I even doing this for? Why do we suck so bad? This is so like demoralizing to work so hard, but still be, you know, last, to keep losing for whatever reasons it may be. But I would say even if you're first or last, there's a lot of pressure. Like no matter what, when you're first, there's pressure to stay on top. When you're last, there's pressure because you don't want to get relegated. Well, that's not really happening anymore, but you know.
All right. And as far as the improvement that you guys have had, everybody's going to bring up, you know, the Smithy trade over and over. What, as a team, do you guys feel like was your biggest improvement, you know, barring, you know, the actual change in players from spring split to summer split?
By biggest improvement, do you mean like some difference in our play from last split, or like something that happened outside of the game, like, you know, us getting Coach Song that improved our play? Like, which do you mean?
Either of those options.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, Coach Song is also a really huge factor in our improvement from last split, I think. I think both him and Smithy have really contributed a lot to really transforming how our team plays. So we play a lot more calm and collected now. We're like actually moving around the map and out rotating people, which is like, whoa, couldn't even imagine this last split. But yeah, it's hard to say like, you know, how much of it goes to who the credit goes to. I just know that both of these two people coming in really had a big impact on the team.
All right. Well, armed with these two new people, how do you guys feel like you're going to do against TSM next week? Because even though, you know, they're not classic TSM at the top of the standings, #1 place in North American LCS, still definitely a team that a lot of people have eyes on as far as expected improvement. Do you guys think that you're definitely solidly in first place and easily going to be able to defend yourselves?
I think we take a pretty cautious approach to most games. So we know that TSM has a history of being a really strong team, even when people count them out. And actually, when we played against them at the beginning, they didn't have much practice coming off their break after MSI. Now they've had some time to come together as a team more. So I think we'll just have to prepare.
All right. Well, good luck in that match and congratulations once again. Now we're going to send it over to the guys at the desk.
Thank you, Kobe. Immortals moves to 7-1, solidly in first place, alone at the top of the table with the fastest game of the split. The biggest gold leads at 10 and 20 minutes this split. I mean, that was just utter destruction there in Game 3.
Playing angry or something, and you got to say, Dignitas kind of walked into it a little bit. They obviously want to play around topside, and it feels like Immortals kind of knows this and knows how to either play around it or play straight into it and come out on top.
Yeah, it's very interesting, kind of the contrast from Games 2 to Games 3, where Flame was the one who was charged with, you know, dodging the ganks and the tower dives in Game 2, and ultimately was successful in doing so. And then here in Game 3, Smithy, he flips the script and says, I know I typically spend a lot of time bot, but this time around I'm going to go top and help Flame get off the ground.
And overall, it's a great time to do it. This time around, they take the Kennen, or excuse me, they're playing the Jarvan into the Kennen, which doesn't beat it straight up, but does have really good gank assist into it. So while the Kennen pushes in, tries to harass you into the turret, you send the tension up there and try and get the kills because, like we said, at Pre-6, good gank setup, and then at 6, it gets even better with the ultimate.
Right, and it didn't stop there. That's, again, the thing, and why this game ended so quickly, is that gank 1 comes through in the top lane, but that kill turns into, you know, a 2v2 kill in the bot lane on its own, and it really was a team effort, again, from Immortals here to close it out in 23 minutes.
Yeah, there you see Flame going for the EQ combo. Kennen flashes out, starts running away, realizes he needs to flash to get the slow from his W proc off, which allows Smithy to get in range. They get that kill, and then Shrimp loses his mind or something, keeps chasing in, wants something desperately, doesn't get a kill to trade back, give up 2. And in the meantime, on the bot side, we talk about why Smithy likes playing around his bot lane is because they're pretty good.
They're real damn good, but again, this shows that they don't need Smithy's help in order to be successful. That time around, picking up the 2v2 kill for themselves. Another counter gank here, as well as the roam from Pobelter to get that ultimate coming in and keeping Flame alive, which is a sliver of health here again in the top lane.
A little bit like an Olaf with how Jarvan plays into the Kennen. The escape that Kennen has is just a dash, or a speed up, excuse me. So as long as the flash is down, you can just ultimate at any point and set up a free gank. A little late on the Galio, got it a little closer than the Immortals probably wanted, but works out just fine, getting 2 kills, and it's off to the races, that steady, straight mountain climb for the gold.
Very much so. They were on track for the perfect game. We did see some messiness in those closing minutes where they took the skirmishes and let a couple people drop, so not quite getting a perfect game.
Why didn't Pobelter ult Ole? We're waiting for the first one. There's been so many close perfect games.
It was close, but hey, this leaves us room to hope, right? There's something to strive for. You can't give us the perfect game in week 4, then what are we watching for in all seriousness? But really, this Immortal squad has just continued to impress, and we saw Pobelter talking there a little bit of what they attribute that success to, you know, in part Smithy and in part Coach Song, but the two of them have really brought brought a level of calmness and direction to the team so that they can start out macroing people and not just like the old Immortals outskill people.
Well, even Pobelter admitted, he's like, I don't know how much credit to give to who. Clearly something just clicked with this team when they came together. Similar to old Immortals, actually, in 2016, that they kind of just got together and instantly started dominating the North American split.
Yep.
And it seems like a somewhat similar case this time around where they just have some kind of synergy that makes them all improve each other.
Now, that said, Xmithy will pick up player of the game, so at least within the microcosm of Game 3, he was the top performer. And if we are going to try and put, some kind of value to what he adds to the team to some degree, I would say that for Xmithy, what I've noticed is his understanding of how to support the different carries on his team. Once again, making that change from Game 2 to Game 3 and saying, this time around, I'm going to put my attention to the top side because I know that's how we win this game, where in previous games he's been able to largely ignore Flame and know that he'll do fine on his own.
I think that's the big thing is whenever you give him a comp, he knows how to execute in the early game to get it off the ground. We've seen him play Elise or Nectin, goes up there and gets a dive off. This time around with the Olaf-Jarvan combo, get up on that cannon early, shut him down before he can really bully out the lane.
Now, Dignitas here, of course, still remains at 5-2, so it's not a score to scoff at necessarily, but, within this game, they got off to a good start picking up Game 1. Things kind of fall apart in Games 2 and 3, so still some struggles for them in terms of responding to the clean macro play from Immortals.
And this is one of the things that people kind of held against Dignitas was that they play around someday all the time. And in Game 2, they kind of circumvent it. Dignitas can't get them going, they fall apart. Game 3, they aggressively attack it, shut him down, build a lead on your top laner, and once again, fall apart.
All right, well, Dignitas will move to 5-2 while Immortals closes the week already at 7-1 with our matches in the books. Let's go ahead and see how the standings have shifted. Immortals, they solidified their hold of first place with their victory today as Team Dignitas drops to third place alongside TSM. We'll be back tomorrow to see how standings further shake out. Coverage kicks off with TSM versus Echo Fox on NALCS 1. Then Team Dignitas aim to defeat Cloud9 in the Battle Arena. Over on NALCS 2, Team Liquid take to the Rift opposite Phoenix 1, followed by FlyQuest versus Team Envy later in the day. Now, before we sign off, a reminder that tickets for our summer finals go on sale next week. Pre-sale bundles are live this Monday, June 26th, with a general admission opening up on Tuesday, June 27th. So for more information on registering for the pre-sale and how you can join us at the TD Garden in Boston, head on over to lolesports.com. Now, while you can book your trip to Boston of your own volition, Mark's fate here has been left in the hands of the fans. And in just a few hours, we received a swarm of tweets, not only detailing... I'll let you know. We received tweets not only detailing, whether or not you wanted Mark to come to the summer finals, but what he should be allowed to do if he does join us. So first up, TT Paradigm and Bezelbaum made clear they love Mark on the analyst desk, but not so much when he's serenading the audience on the big stage. While, hold up, there's some support for you as well.
Okay.
Don't jump the gun here in the defense. Now, MPR35 and DEX Factor practically begged to have Mr. Zimmerman's voice grace the TD Garden, especially if we go to a Game 5. My question would be to you, are you prepared? Do you feel like you're even more prepared this time around? Would there be a remixed version or something?
I feel like that's what makes you a great artist. I'm not doing it. You can't bait me, production. Get out of here.
I was there.
No. I was going to say, what makes you a great artist, James, is being ready to go at the drop of a hat. And even though they tried to bait me here, you need to know when to pick your
Who's
spots.
got a hat? Somebody give me a hat so I can drop it.
No.
All right. Well, votes are still neck and neck, and we don't want you to wait. So the polls close tomorrow at noon. We're still going to go ahead and track these, and the fate of Mark's September travel plans are in your hands. So tweet at LOL Esports with the hashtag #LeaveMark or the hashtag #TakeMark, and tune in for the results tomorrow at the beginning of our show. For now, though, and myself, the cast of the entire live broadcast crew, we're going to thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for more North American LCS. Good night.
As TSM takes on FlyQuest. And for FlyQuest, they're looking to break a funk that's been clouding them since halfway through the spring split.
Towards him, Bifrost corner is going to burn down first blood. Goes to Lemon, Sven assassinates Moon, but he's going to go down as well. Fly started it all, but TSM are going to end it. Total force to Sven. Tag onto Elimination. Double is going to move to us.
Let's Garrett looking for position.
Garrett kicks him back. Oh, that's so tough for Rumble. Dive comes down and Balls He's gonna go down. Fitzgerald, no. Sweeping on a rampage, takes the next one down, and Bjergsen finally gonna join the fray. Stun not gonna connect with Spence. Able to tower dive through a double kill there for double lift as it's just chaos under these turrets. And TSM are gonna sweep them. FlyQuest go down.
Down and all of Envy lives. The flag and drag coming in with the flash from Darshan, trying to make it look good, but there are too many shields. There's too much CC. Seraph's gonna go down. One last lick. Apollo looking to get the kill over. It's a lot of damage going on to Dardoch, and he's still able to stay alive as they get bounced around left and right. The chaos in favor of Envy. Finally going down. A retribution kill coming in there from Apollo as the fight continues. 6A alive in the fight. 6A taking down Seraph.
Rainover comes through with the ulti, not able to find the kill. It's turned around, and Jensen is godlike. Smoothie getting the pull over the wall. They're gonna bring Morlo right back in, and he is a pair of alligator boots. Jensen gonna be tracking the ace, the hole, can't even break the shield. Lucy is dead, and that will likely seal the deal. Cloud9 will 2-0 Team Liquid.
Not sure if Flame is killable, though. He's going to try to hug the wall, get away from some of these.
Oh, that was
Away
so
from
well
all
done.
the CC. Now Shrimp's going to force the dodge the aggro. All the vitals do get proc.
Oh, that was insane from Flame.
Here gets the big heal lick. It's going to be Big, who's okay, though. And now the float's
He's gonna
back
get
on the Shrimp, and again! Well, speaking of kills, though, Smithy running low on
Oh,
my God!
Smithy!
That ball, like, the freaking explosive cast was insane! Options, redemption for the kill! Get him!
Oh.
Yeah! Ole! And Immortals close week 4 as the #1 team in North America.